Just a wrap up of the work session and the council meeting for the City of Grand Rapids for Monday, May 22nd, 2017. The work session this afternoon, we went through a little discussion around the changing of some ordinance as it relates to pets, and we cleaned up Chapter 10 of the city's codes and stuff. So the chief and the assistant chief were in and went through quite a lot of redlining changes to the ordinance, but it will be published in summary form, so you can get that out on the web at some point in time. During the regular council meeting under public forum, we had a request from the GABA, Greenway Athletic Board, Sports Board, requesting action that we'd taken 2 weeks ago when we were looking at, in the minds of the city council, residents being taxed twice. Through the annexation process, part of Grand Rapids Township came in, but they are also part of Greenway School District. So the question is, under school district boundaries, should they be contributing to the support of athletics and sports programs and other associated recreational activities that 316 is involved with? That would not be coming in. It's about $15,000 worth of revenue that would not be going into the Greenway one. So we did not take that into consideration. So we will be having them back at the June 12th meeting. Pat Geyer will be here to discuss that, and we may take a second look at if it is appropriate for us to be making that decision that affects the School District 316 residents who are technically in the city limits of Grand Rapids. So more to come on that one as we get more information and hear more from Pat Geyer and their group. Consent agenda, just a few things that I wanted to touch on the consent agenda. PEG fees, that's what we pay through participation with Grand Rapids, Cohasset, La Prairie, and some of the townships for public service. Broadcasts and stuff through ICTV. We have not had a rate increase on PEG fees in about 5 years, so there's going to be a request, or not going to be, there was a request to have a public hearing as it relates to PEG fees for the city of Grand Rapids. They were taken up in Cohasset and stuff, and they did approve through their public hearing process the increase in the PEG fees of 25 cents on a household basis. Second thing I wanted to touch base on was a resolution application for IRRB for a commercial redevelopment grant for the work at Grand Rapids Brewing and Block 19 development, which is going to be, we hope, a nice project that would certainly change the view and the look of that block as development occurs in the old Rialto Theater and the old Township Hall and the Four Paws building, as they would be doing something with that. It's a great change for that area, so we're hoping that that is successful as well going forward. And then the last one I want to touch on, consent agenda. We adopted our 2017 to 2021 capital improvements plan. Council member Ziggy did bring up that he'd noticed that the new snow blower that we were getting in the city was not left off, so it wasn't listed on there. So we did amend that to include that snow blower, a purchase of about $100,000, and we're trading in our old one at $52,500, so it's about $47,500 of additional expense. All of it is budgeted, and we had that in there. So that's what was done at the consent agenda side. Marcia Anderson was in, talked about the library again. If you get a chance, please go down and take a look at some of the staggering statistics on the use and stuff at the Grand Rapids Library. It is amazing for the size of our library, the number of hours and the number of visits that are out there. On about an $800,000 budget, the library puts out about $3.3 million worth of economic value to the community. So a 4-to-1 benefit back is, I think, great. And as always, Marcia did a great job of referencing that. A couple of other points out there. Matt Wegworth was in from engineering, talked a little bit about the taxi lane project out there. We did get approval from that from the council. It's about $153,000 total project, of which $20,730 approximately are going to be funded through the city in order to improve those taxi lanes. We bought some wetland credits. If you're out and about and you've crossed 7th to 8th, once you cross Highway 2, you go from 7th Avenue to 8th Avenue, and if you look where Hernisman Brothers are building their new shop, we needed to put some wetland credits, and we needed to create a retaining pond in there. And when you're dealing with wetlands, you can't create without, or eliminate without creating. So we ended up buying some wetland credits in the amount of $10,582.99 that will continue to move that project forward. Public hearings this afternoon. We had 2 public hearings. First one was nice to see occasionally, where you get people in and you get a lot of feedback. It was not unanticipated, the feedback, because I think some of the council had phone calls at home talking about is there another way that we could take a look at this platting and vacating of a portion of the area out there around Audrey Lane. So what we did tonight was we tabled this discussion for 3 weeks so that we'll come back before the council on June 12th with the hope that the participants in the discussion this evening can get together and they can come up with a way that it meets the needs and the desires of the residents that were opposed to vacating all of it. They weren't opposed to vacating part of it, to allow the Galluses to do what they needed to do from the standpoint of potentially increasing and building an expansion on their house. So I am hopeful that they are successful in their discussions internally, and that when it comes back before the council on June 12th, it can go as the second public hearing on the vacation of a portion of property brought forward by Dr. Larry Schlotterhoff, and the church could be done. It was opened, it was discussed, the public hearing was closed, and we moved forward. So one of them will be coming back, and thanks to the participants that came tonight and spoke pro and con on that. It is always nice to hear very civil discussion as it relates to vacating pieces of property in the city of Grand Rapids. Under the golf course, Bob Cahill was in, and in their capital equipment purchase plan, they had 4 pieces of equipment that were scheduled in 2017. I believe the number that Bob says, they're putting about $10,000 a year plus into maintenance on the current pieces of equipment, and with the purchase of the 4, it's going to allow the golf course to have uninterrupted services over the summer months during the peak parts of our time, where there are greens mowers and fairway mowers. If those were to go down, the course would certainly suffer from an economic standpoint of lost revenue and lost traffic out at the golf course. So once again, this was budgeted. Bob feels that it would eliminate time for about 1.5 temporary or part-time summer help out there. So it's going to have a positive economic impact on the golf course's budget, and they will pay that back on a lease purchase program over a 5-year period. So if you take off, it's about $30,000 a year to purchase, but if you take off about the $10,000 to $12,000 that they were putting into maintenance on the old equipment, you know, they're going to net out only costing about 20 grand a year. So all in all, the council felt that was very well and worth doing. And then we appointed Tom Foss as the hazmat officer with the city of Grand Rapids. So with that, we look forward to seeing everyone in 3 weeks, not 2, at the June 12th City Council meeting for the City of Grand Rapids. Take care and have a nice evening.